All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have each and every one of you guys here. Another live stream for today, stream number 2 of the day. It is obviously morning for me, but it's late night wherever you guys are. Pretty much the rest of the world, I'm pretty sure, will be late night situations. Hope each and every one of you guys are doing well. And the weekend is well and truly upon us. Big up to each and every one of you guys. We're going to go through, obviously, what's been popping off in the news, Chelsea news scenario. We'll have Jonathan coming on very, very soon. We'll have Sadiq coming on very, very soon as well. So we'll have a fantastic live stream. Don't you worry. We'll have a chilled, relaxed, and a brilliant conversation. Jersey, good night. I'm from the USA. Good to see you, Jersey. Chase, big up, Miz. Big up to you as well. Fats, Mizzy, good to see you. Fatur. Ryan, big up to you as well. Big up, my brother. Good to see you. Really, really good to see you. Yeah. So what we will do is we'll go through what's latest that's coming up in the news at the moment, and we'll make a beautiful discussion out of it. Happy to see Nkunku and Lavia back on grass. No need to rush them, ease them in. Yeah, do you know what? Maybe we can talk about this to kick things off. Some of you guys might have seen both Nkunku and Lavia, pictures of them on social media. Both of them look like they're training. I don't know whether they're team training, but they're back on the grass. Definitely Nkunku is someone who is, you know, there's words that's been floating around that after the international break, you know, most likely Nkunku is going to be back, which is going to be a game changer. And then Lavia hopefully will be back after the international break as well. A lot of people a little bit skeptical about Lavia. And this is what I want to talk to you guys about in the live chat. Poch team is saying, Miz, what do you think of Osimhen? We'll definitely talk about Osimhen as well. Don't you worry. We'll talk about all of this stuff. We'll talk about everything you guys want to talk about, right? In regards to Lavia, there's so many people disregarding him. People are saying this particular player is not going to make it into the Chelsea team. There's no way he's going to be part of the Chelsea midfield setup. It's going to be very difficult to break that midfield of Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher. And a lot of people are just disregarding him straight away off the bat, are disregarding him. And I'm like, you know, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Honestly, it won't take too long. Once he is given a chance, it won't take too long until everyone getting on board with Romeo Lavia. Like, it's as if people have forgotten what Romeo Lavia did last season, what he's capable of. And I'm not saying that he just walks in. No, of course he doesn't. I think Conor Gallagher is probably the biggest shout out of the three that makes way for Lavia. But Conor Gallagher's been having a fantastic season so far. And he's become one of the most important players for Pochettino. So he's starting to prove a lot of people wrong, including myself. So I'm not saying, oh, do you know what? Lavia, as soon as he's fit, he just comes in and takes over Gallagher's position like it means nothing. No, it's not going to be like that. I think the competition is going to be good. And that's what we need to focus on. We need to be happy about the level of competition that's going to be back, which is going to be great for this particular squad. You know, someone commented in a nice manner earlier on today saying that when people see the bench of Manchester City with plethora of, you know, supremely talented players, and they have such depth in their bench, no one complains. But whenever there is depth and good talent at Chelsea Football Club, everyone wants to complain. Everyone wants to complain that what's going to happen with this guy, what's going to happen with that guy. We don't need to complain. We should be happy that we've got a strong unit that can be pushing each other and that can be competitive to raise their game. There are certain players, I think they don't have a future. Like, for instance, Chalobah. Chalobah definitely doesn't have a future at Chelsea Football Club. He needs to move on. Sad news for him, obviously, but that is the reality. Ian Martin's probably another one that probably needs to move on, just doesn't get any game time. There's just too many other players ahead of him. And maybe there are a couple other ones that probably are in the same bench. But Lavia is someone I think has, the club didn't buy Lavia to not be integrated in the team. I think there is a big future for Lavia at Chelsea Football Club. Because Lavia schooled us home and away. Any doubts? Watch what he did to Partey at the Emirates. Exactly. People just writing him off. People. This is the thing with our fan base, right? Out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. That's the scenario, right? If you can't see the particular player, then people forget about, they definitely forget about that player. And the longer you're out of sight, the more problem. So, yeah, I mean, once Lavia comes back into the frame, you best believe everyone's going to understand what a talent he is. And I honestly, I wish fans weren't like that. I wish fans weren't like out of sight, out of mind. Like I wish fans had the ability to look forward, had the vision, but we lack the vision. We absolutely lack the vision. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Lavia will bench Gallagher in any club or country. Gallagher has no hold-up play and not good with the ball. Look, I don't want to take anything away from Gallagher. I think Gallagher, he has proven so many people wrong, like honestly. And now it's got to a point where Conor Gallagher, he is definitely an important factor in Mauricio Pochettino's setup. But I'm still a little bit skeptical about his overall game. And I think this is where someone like Romeo Lavia has an advantage. And I'm keen to see how this competition pans out between Lavia, Gallagher, and I think it'll be even competition for the other two, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. I think Lavia could potentially play in any of those positions, whether it's on the left side of midfield, right side of midfield, or as the deepest midfield. I think it'll be good competition across all three of them. So it's going to be good to see. Where would players Nkunku and Cole Palmer playing well? I think what you're trying to say is that where would they both play? I think Nkunku potentially could play as a striker. Cole Palmer on the right side. The other option could be Nkunku could be on the left side. Cole Palmer could be the number 10. Raheem Sterling on the right, and then there's a striker, like a 4-2-3-1 formation. So there could be plenty of permutations. There could be many possibilities. So I can picture both Nkunku and Cole Palmer being in the same team. It's not hard to picture that. Enzo, Caicedo, and Lavia, when fully fit, only 2 players will play among them. Gallagher will be mainstay in Poch's team. There you go. Don't be surprised if this is the case. Do not be surprised. And do you know what? I wish him the best. I wish Gallagher the best. If that's the case, I hope he does, show that he is undroppable. I've always said I got no agenda. The reason why I was talking about Gallagher in the way I was earlier in the season is because I felt he doesn't give us everything that we desire in the midfield. And still for that same reason, I believe Romeo Lavia is someone who's going to be favored. But if Gallagher somehow ends up still staying in the team, kudos to him, man. Kudos to him. As long as he does well. All right, I got my man handle here. Got Jonathan Mann in the house. Jonathan, how you doing, brother?
I'm very well. How are you, man?
Good. What happened to your video, bro?
So, yeah, laptop charger has been taken. I'm currently charging my phone, and I can start the camera in a minute. Just
why is your life like this, bro? Why is it so difficult?
It's just there's always something going on, man. Always something going on. It's never a dull day. It's a bit like Cobham. It's a bit like Chelsea. it's what do we call it? You know, captain of chaos. It's a chaos
It's
club.
Captain of Chaos. I was just gonna
Yeah,
say chaos. Yeah.
it's a life like that. It's never a dull day. That's all I want to
Guess
say.
who's
And my life
guess who's
mirrors
here,
that.
bro? Guess who's here, bro? Guess who's here?
Who?
Boom! That's
My
who's here,
man.
bro.
What's going on? What's going on?
The lads are here. We're all in the house. Sadiq,
Good to be here.
Jonathan, lads, how you all doing, man? We'll go with Sadiq. Sadiq, how are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I had to apologies for being, I think, 10, 12 minutes late. But
That's all right, bro.
like Matisse says, lateness is greatness.
Come on.
Looking forward to this conversation. I mean, I've not really spoken to you and John at the same time, so yeah.
Yes, and we're gonna create a bit of a vibe today, lads. Yeah, it's gonna be a very chilled, relaxed stream. Say whatever is on your hearts, on your minds. Sit back, kick back, relax. We'll take some comments from the live chat as well. We'll start with Jonathan because obviously I had Sadiq for the watch along on the Spurs game, and Jonathan was dying to say some things. He was looking to unleash. I was running out of time. I had to go to work. But Jonathan, I want to give you the floor for the first 5 minutes or so. Just unleash whatever you had to unleash after that match. Let it all out, bro. Let's kick things off like that.
Yeah, I let it a little bit out on Sadiq's channel just because I was in equal measures happy and also annoyed. We came up against a very naive side, a side that were in the ascendancy the first 10, 15 minutes, had scored one, had one disallowed, and then just completely lost discipline, completely lost all way of tactics, all way of playing, and decided to throw the game away. And I know we came back into the game, we had more shots, more possession, we had a disallowed goal as well before they had the man sent off. But as much as they could have had probably 4 or 5 red cards during the game, that we had 3, 4 disallowed goals, we ended up scoring 4 goals. It was I wouldn't say an embarrassment because it wasn't embarrassing because we ended up deserving to win, albeit being handed the game. But it was not a result where you walk away after beating Tottenham 4-1 at 3-Point Lane and go, wow, that was a great performance. If you'd have looked at the scoreline without seeing the game, you would have thought, Chelsea have done an absolute madness, as Miz would say. But it was quite far from that, because I say it was a disgracefully high line. It was a naive high line. It was from a side that was built with a billion, that had youth and immaturity and inexperience in abundance, against a side that had started the season like an absolute house on fire. Which, in a way, we've seen Arteta and Pep stick to their guns and their tactics, and Postecoglou looks like he'll die on the hill of the High Line as well. But it was just a very strange game. Every fan that I've seen watch it, whether they be Chelsea, Tottenham, or another team, they just all agreed that it was a very strange game, one that it happens once in a decade because of the sendings off, because of the discipline, because of the high line, just everything. I mean, Cucurella was the only one that really cottoned on for Chelsea, that run from deep, run from your own half, because everyone else just wanted to be offside. So, yeah, as much as I'm absolutely ecstatic because Tottenham is a team that I dislike, there's a raw rivalry there from my childhood, beating Tottenham, every week it seemed, to, not being able to beat them for a few years. It was a great result. So I don't want to take away the fact that it was a hopefully game-changing performance.
And I think Jonathan, this is important to highlight that. Let's not take nothing away from the 3 points. I think it's very, very crucial that we got the 3 points. It's good to recognize that we got that very important 3 points, but also at the same time having a balanced view to say, under the circumstances, we probably should have. A team with a little bit more structure probably beats them 8, 9, maybe even 10-1, I reckon.
Definitely. So that's the thing. As you know, I'm a realist and I'm honest. I'm not just going to go with the popular narrative. I'll always say what I think. And I know some people don't agree with me. You've got some people maybe on the panel that think we're going to go and smash City on Sunday. But me, myself, and I like to be a little bit more of a realist. So it's difficult because, as I say, really happy with the 3 points. I hope we kick on. But also, I don't want to detract away from the fact that we have a lot to learn and a lot left to give on the pitch that will give me the confidence that we can go into a big game and win. Because I think I said it on Sadiq's channel, first away win against a big six side since like November, December 2021. So
big. Yeah.
It's a big, I'd say, big result. I hope that we take that result and translate it into performances that will help us kick on.
100%. Big up to my man, Rejo Park. Thank you so much for this generous super chat, brother. Brother, I was in New York City with New York Blues, Chelsea fan club, watching us trash Spurs when Nkunku returned. What's our formation? Left to right, Sterling and Nkunku Palmer, Jacks up front. I forgot Lavia with us. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of this. Rejo Park, stick around. We will talk about all of this. Sadiq, I want to go to you, brother, first of all. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, my brother. And secondly, bro, I see a lot of people in after that game and now leading up to the Manchester City game. But no one's giving us a chance, bro. It's like it's it's a bit of a lot of people trying to say it's a bit of a free hit. Go out there, nothing to worry. Expected L. I'm thinking otherwise. I mean, Sadiq, I'm thinking, if anything, bro. Look, I understand. I'm not delusional. Like, this is a mismatch. This is up against one of the best teams in the world, if not the best teams in the world right now. But I'm thinking, get a victory against City. Boy, that really puts a fire in the project. The P word that everyone wants to throw around. Project, this, project, that, all that. I feel like get a victory here. That project, Sadiq, you and me, and I think Jonathan as well, we've all worked in projects in our life sometime in our life. You just know some key moments when it goes for you, the project kicks off. Do you feel like, Sadiq, this, if we can have that mentality, that this victory, if we can get it, it would mean the world for the project, don't you think?
Yeah, no, look, Miz, I'm going to agree with you. I think obviously we can get a result on Sunday.
Here we go, Jonathan, bro. This guy's about to give me the negative.
I genuinely believe we'll get a result on Sunday, like a 2-1. I do believe we'll win. I'm serious. I genuinely believe we'll win.
I love it. Don't flip on me in the watch along, bro. I'm
not. Except Nicholas Jackson. But like obviously on my pod that I have with Frozen Deborah, we've been saying that against the big teams, we're gonna be picking up points. And I'm not gonna be surprised. It's the lower block teams where we just need to fix it. That's all it is. Your Tottenhams, your Cities, your Brightons, your Newcastles. We're going to see good performances from these players. So that's why I'm saying, don't be surprised if we pick up a draw, a win, a lucky win, whatever it is. Do not be surprised. Does it mean for the project? No. We know what Poch has been saying. He's been saying, basically, he's struggling to unlock this team to break low block teams. This could change, obviously, if Reece James coming back and Nkunku coming back, Lavia coming back. You know, there's many changes that will be happening. So
soldiers are coming back, Sadiq.
Soldiers
are coming back, bro.
First 11 that we want to see people. Reece James, your Nkunku's. Does Nicholas Jackson, your favorite player, stay up top? We don't know.
Come on.
But hat-trick, of course, against Spurs. One of the weirdest hat-tricks in the world after missing six, 7 chances. He has to start. He has to start against City now. It's a confidence.
Does he though? Does he?
He has to.
Tactically, I mean, and this is something that I brought up in the All You Can Eat Chelsea episode earlier this week, and I'll go to Jonathan very soon, but Sadiq, quickly, does Poch from a tactical standpoint? I know how you drop someone when they score a hat-trick, and he's my boy, you know me, Nicholas Jackson, my boy, brother, he's my boy. But tactically, Sadiq, if Pochettino is, what does he want from Nicholas Jackson? What will be his role, right? Does Cole Palmer suit better? Do you know what I mean? Allowing, probably dropping in as from a false line position, allowing the wingers to be far more aggressive against a Man City that's probably going to have a high line. Man City don't like to have a mid or a low line. They like to be up in our half. Someone like Cole Palmer acting as a false line. I mean, Sadiq, is it too wild to think that perhaps sentimental, put that aside? I know he scored a hat-trick, but don't get too sentimental about it, or you have to allow him. Dropping him might shatter his confidence.
No, I see where you're definitely coming from, but I feel like the way City play, you just want us to eventually just boot that ball and have someone up there. And Nicholas Jackson, for me, he's a decent footballer. Don't get me wrong. He is actually a decent footballer. He's decent on the ball at times. He can be very greedy and lose the ball eventually. But I think his hold-up play is good enough. It's not as bad as players that we've seen in the past. So, look, Miz, I know I always troll and I joke around and stuff, but he has to start on Sunday. He has to start on Sunday. It's very important. I'll see Cole Palmer behind and letting him drop deep and try and get him to dictate, control the game, really. I want to see him dominate with the ball personally. So, look, Nicholas Jackson has to start, man. It's important.
Jonathan, for you, there's no debate here. Nicholas Jackson 100% starts. Also, what do you think about his performance against Spurs, that hat trick? And yeah, like, do you think there is a conversation of Cole Palmer potentially starting through the middle and potentially playing with Mudryk on the left, Raheem Sterling on the right, and then obviously Conor Gallagher just behind Cole Palmer? Thoughts?
I think Palmer is someone that's going to want to prove Guardiola wrong for selling him. We know that Guardiola sells good players when he doesn't think they're part of the project. So he'll come back, or, he'll be at Stamford Bridge there to prove a point. But yeah, I think with Jackson, you have to maintain the confidence level, scoring a hat-trick, dropping him. So between the two of you, you both kind of sussed it out. You can't really drop him. Tactically, I think you have to throw it out the window and just say, look, I'm going to back my striker. Jackson's got some raw ability. It's only his, second, third season in senior football. And it's interesting because there's a guy I came across recently, Joey Knight, I think his name is, and he did an interesting little skit where he was saying, other massive strikers in history have gone through these early seasons of low scoring, of questions around their form. And whilst I certainly do see the merit in it, and I think Jackson could develop into a good player, three of the examples that he used were Drogba, who ended up having Mourinho coaching him, one of the best managers ever. Shevchenko, who had Ancelotti coaching him, one of the best managers ever. And then Van Nistelrooy, who ended up having Ferguson coaching him, one of the best managers ever. So when I say, okay, well, these guys only scored a couple of goals in their first few senior career league seasons, etc. And I look at Jackson, who's now got Pochettino. And whilst I don't want to take anything away from Pochettino, I think he's a good manager. He's not world class like Mourinho, Ancelotti, and Ferguson. Is he really known for taking strikers and making them absolute monsters? I know Kane did well, but we all know Kane's a world-class striker, Pochettino or no Pochettino. So he's known for developing young players.
You don't think Pochettino developed Kane?
No, I'm like,
you think it was all?
I'm not saying he didn't develop Kane, but Kane was always going to be a world-class striker. I think if you'd have had me in charge,
would he really? If it wasn't for Harry Kane, if it wasn't for Pochettino in the early days, would Harry Kane still have the same trajectory of becoming a superstar?
I think he would have probably, as I say, I think he's got the raw ability. And I don't want to take anything away from Pochettino. Don't for 1 minute say or think I'm saying that Pochettino didn't help Kane. However, I think that raw ability from Kane was going to be there, Pochettino or not. And yes, he would have helped him and he elevated him. But what I'm probably doing him a disservice because I'm comparing him to elite managers. And that was the only real point I wanted to make. You've got absolute elite managers, and then you've got Pochettino, who isn't quite sure what to do in his early stage of his Chelsea career. You've got different systems. We're still trying to find our feet with a lot of young players, maybe in a couple of seasons. And I see him put a real identity. Then maybe I'll change my mind. But yeah, that was all I really wanted to say. It was more, Jackson can also have a good career like those other strikers, but they all had elite managers around him, and they were all in stages where they had other players. Yeah. So
what you're trying to say is that he tactically so far as well, it's not like we've seen a masterclass from Pochettino as like from a pattern of play, from a organization structure. I think what we've seen maybe good pressing as a unit. At times we've seen good pressing. Even at times I think our pressing has been bad. But I hear what you're saying, Jonathan, in the sense that tactically you're still a little bit unsure with Pochettino. Is that where you're trying to go towards, I suppose?
It is, yeah. And look, I think my Tottenham bias does sometimes come in. I was never his biggest fan when he wasn't Chelsea manager, and I sort of gave him a second chance when he came in. And we talked about his comments leading up to the game, where I basically said he's put unnecessary pressure on himself and he needs to have a big performance. And my word, did he get a big performance and a response with that 4-1 win? But yeah, he hasn't filled me with confidence to say, wow, this guy is going to turn Jackson into a 25 goal striker. I see him working with more the wingers, the midfielders, and bringing them on. I'd expect him to make more of Cole Palmer than Nicholas Jackson, and that's no criticism to Pochettino. I just think that's the sort of manager where he will bring out those kind of players and not your strikers. So yeah, not to take away from Kane and not to take away from those other great strikers I talked about, but it was more the point that he has the raw ability, but he still looks very awkward on the ball, Jackson. And I know you could say that about Drogba when he first joined, but again, you had Mourinho who wanted to turn him into a beast. Is Pochettino's first thought, how can I make Jackson a 25 goal striker? I'm not sure, because you know that Chelsea are going to go out and buy an elite striker. You know he likes Broha. So is he going to plough all his energy into that when you've got a star man like potentially Palmer behind him and Nkunku as well, who can make the star? That's the only real concern I have there for Jackson if I was him. But yeah, look, just to go back to the original point, he's got to start. He scored 3 goals, and you want him to kick on now. And you
I think it would be a bit of
confidence.
I think his confidence would be shattered if he didn't start, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. You've seen from this young Chelsea team, we went 2-0 up against Arsenal, and we looked like we had the world at our feet. As soon as they scored, our heads dropped, and we looked like, the world's against us. Same against Nottingham Forest, same against Brentford. We can see the goal, especially the first goal, and our heads just go down, and we don't look like we know how to respond. And then teams dig in with the 10-man behind the ball, and obviously we get into these low block scenarios where we just cannot break teams down. So look, the good thing is against Man City, and Sadiq touched on it, these bigger sides, they're not going to have low blocks. They're not going to be looking to stifle us. They're going to come out at us. And hopefully that will enable us to get Jackson in behind and maybe add 1 or 2 to his season's tally.
100%, man. Darish is saying Jackson needs a mentor, someone to shoulder the burden and take the pressure off. I think Pochettino in the press conference has been doing his level best to protect Jackson as much as he can. Let's see what he's capable of doing with Jackson. There is always talks about buying another striker. I want to talk to Sadiq about this now. Sadiq, this week we've seen the Oni, David Ornstein, Oni that makes us all horny. He's come out with a particular news saying Chelsea ain't messing about. Chelsea are not about the Ivan Toney business. Chelsea about an elite level in the mold of Harry Kane-esque level of striker. Now, I don't know who else is off that level. Harry Kane is in a different planet on his own at the moment. He is banging goals left, right, and center for Bayern Munich. And the guy is he's a phenomenal striker. There's no doubt about that. I know one name that's getting floating around at the moment, Victor Osimhen. Nowhere to be seen for Napoli at the moment. Apparently some personal issues, this, that, the other. I don't know how much of that is true or not. I've not done my research on it. But there is definitely friction between Osimhen, Napoli fans, all the TikTok shenanigans that happened as well not that long ago. I mean, Sadiq, it kind of looks like January transfer window, something might be happening. If not, definitely for the summer. Chelsea don't want to hold back. I think it was Liam Toomey or was it Simon Johnson that's been saying that Chelsea owners are very focused on 100 points. How to get 100. I love it, man. These owners must have like a book. How to get 100 points in the Premier League. Just reading through the books. And they are very much interested in getting a striker. What's your thoughts about, trying to persevere with Jackson, Broya? Do you believe in them at all? Or do you think, owners are thinking the right way? Elite level striker is needed either January or summer. What's your thoughts?
It's a tough one. I think regardless of whether we sign a striker or not, Nicholas Jackson will still be here the following season. He might be playing second fiddle, who knows? But at the same time, we've been talking about Poch and what he's done for the previous players that he's managed. And I feel like John has been very harsh on Poch and Kane, personally. I think he developed
the live chat gave it to him. Don't worry, the live chat gave it to him.
The live chat should have got.
I gave my reasons, man. You know I'm not.
Hey,
a
listen,
massive
don't
Poch
cut me off.
fan.
Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. I didn't cut you off. I didn't cut you off.
Kane's world class.
This is
Pochettino or
Mohamed
not, bro.
Hijab and Piers Morgan. Don't cut me off. Like, talk to me with respect, son. Yeah. So basically,
let me talk. I didn't interrupt you.
Harry Kane, Dele Alli, Son, whoever you want to mention, Poch has done a phenomenal job, and it clearly shows that time is needed with your best players. We've had players out that should be in the first team when fit, and that's when we'll see a lot more unleashed from NJ. Nico Drogba, of course. So, look, it's difficult in the moment when you're watching the games and frustrating. Of course, you can't control your emotions, but when we see the likes of Reece James and Nkunku come back in, Casado's coming in the flow now. You saw him score a banger, unfortunately disallowed. We're going to get stronger people. After the November break, we're going to see a better Chelsea team. And that's when I feel Nicholas Jackson has his chance to show what he's capable of. And that's very, very key. But like I said, regardless if we've signed a striker or not, I do think Broho will go. I told you this, Miz. I do think Broho will go. I don't think his line.
Do you think it's over for him?
I think it's
definitely over.
I think it's done.
That's sad, bro. That makes me sad, bro. That really does make me sad.
We're sad about Tomori. We're sad about Tammy. We're sad about all these guys. It happens. We have to move on.
Yeah. Did you ever not believe in Broya though? Like you look at his body structure, like he's
since that injury, bro.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's too much. We can't wait. We can't wait anymore. Like people are even talking about Reece. Imagine talking about Reece James saying if he gets another injury, they want him out. That's the expectations that we have for certain players. So where does Broha come under this? He's not there. Yeah. We haven't seen him at that level. We're talking about Nicholas Jackson not good enough and stuff. He's not good enough. He isn't. Honestly, he isn't. I want him to do well, but he's not good enough.
So for you, you're buying a striker, yeah? You're buying a striker.
Yeah. Look, striker comes in. It's not Nicholas Jackson.
Who you getting, bro? Who are you getting?
I'm a bit surprised with the conversations that we're hearing now. If we're saying no with Antony, I just don't see us spending that big money on Osherman. Me and you, Miz, we'll be going back-to-back streams, back-to-back videos. We'll be celebrating. You'll be doing your dances.
Yes.
You'll be doing so much. Yes. But realistically, I just don't see that.
Yes.
I don't see that.
Bro, apparently there's going to be a lot of money that's going to be asked for Victor Osimhen. Plus Victor Osimhen, apparently, if we don't make it to the Champions League, levels, it's going to be very difficult for us to lure him. So what does that leave us? I'm not really sure. What other strikers out there that we can go for? I don't know. And that is something we can talk about down the track. Fatur, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Hello, gents, Ms. Jam, long time, boss. Big up to you, man. Appreciate that.
Look at this guy in the comments, bro. Look at this guy in the comments. I beg you. Kick him off and let him stay as a comment, please. Kick him off, please.
This guy's in the panel and this guy's in the live chat.
How can you say bro has done more than Kane in his career before Poch came? How?
So when you look at the same situation, Kane before Poch came in, when he was going on loan, when he didn't have much of a career, and now you compare it to Broha. Broha's scored more goals, played more Premier League minutes than Kane did.
Sorry. Have we forgotten Tim Sherwood?
So now
have we forgotten Tim Sherwood or something?
So let's just remember. You just said Pochettino's the manager that made Kane what he is. Well, why can't he turn Broha into that?
So I truly think Poch can turn Broha into that, but I think I agree with Sadiq. This injury, like he had this major injury, then I think we kind of forced him back in, and now, bro, where's Broha again? He's disappeared again. What has happened to Broha? I don't even know.
Pull him up on the comment about Broha's career instead of Kane. I mean, that's not true either. Tim Sherwood is the one that brought Kane back in. He scored his debut goal with the
You said that Pochettino turned Kane into the monster that he is.
Bro, he was scoring goals. Bro
has scored goals for Chelsea, scored on loan at Southampton. Kane hadn't done much before he came back into the fold under Tim Sherwood. So he was probably ahead of where Kane was in terms of first team Premier League minutes.
He was doing it in a big team. I mean, it hurts to say that.
Norwich and Leicester. Really? In
No,
the
for
Championship?
Tottenham on the Tim Sherwood. Hey,
but
comments.
that's
Talk
okay.
to this guy, man. Talk to this guy.
But this is what I'm trying to say to you. Pochettino came in and you said turn Kane around. So why can't he do that
No,
at
Tim
Broha?
Sherwood. Tim Sherwood brought Kane onto the scene. He brought him onto
and
the
then he
team.
got sacked very quickly. It wasn't
No, not
that
very
long.
quickly.
Tim
Not
Sherwood
very
was.
quickly. Kane scored a lot
It
of
was
goals
like a
on the
year,
Sherwood.
maybe. Like a year, maybe.
Silver Surfer. Talk to him.
I do agree what Sadiq is saying. I think it was Team Sherwood that
It
brought
was
in
Tim
Harry
Sherwood that
Kane.
brought him in. He scored so many goals.
Who they had? They had Soldado. They had Soldado, right? They had Roberto Soldado as their
At
striker.
the time, they dropped him. They had to try and play him a little bit.
And he decided to drop him.
Yes.
And
he done a story on it. He done a story on it.
Yeah, he done a story on it. And Daniel Levy wasn't happy.
You're up to date, man.
Daniel Levy, I think, said, "What are you doing? I brought in Roberto Soldado. Why are you playing Harry Kane?" He goes, "Do you want to win 3 points or not?"
Yes, you saw it. Yes, you saw it. Yes,
I saw that.
No way, John. What John does is he watches a lot of highlights and he picks up the key Twitter points from CYS and he puts it together and he does a lot
Jonathan Reels, Jonathan's shorts. You know when they make YouTube shorts, Jonathan's shorts, bro.
You guys can sit here and be deluded with Pochettino, and you can forgive him for his comments in the last 10 days. I sit here knowing that I do not forget what Pochettino said leading up to the Tottenham game. I don't forget.
Did you see the passion? Did you see the passion after the fourth goal? Did you see it? Yes or no?
He was jumping, wasn't he?
Did you see it? Wait. John, did you actually watch the game? Honestly, did you watch the game?
Wow, did I watch the game?
No, I'm asking. You saw the fourth goal.
At the end of the day, I can cheat my wife 10 times, but if I then come home and give her a kiss, is everything okay?
I think so. Bro, I think we should all be allowed to do that.
Look, bro, you guys forgave Pochettino.
Someone clipped that. That's a mad comment. I love that comment, bro.
You guys forgave Pochettino for all those comments.
No, I haven't.
No, I don't.
John, this is the thing. Maybe I'm a bit. Look, people can say I'm being harsh on him. I'm just like I said. I'm just a realist. I don't think he is the top echelon of manager that he's going to take us to the top. That's why earlier on when I compared him to the other three managers, and then when I compared him to Kane, he did bring Kane on, and I'm not denying that. I still think he brought on Ali, Ericsson, etc. more. But has he ever made a world-class striker from nothing? Kane, I think he's doing. Kane was brilliant. Kane was very good, and Pochettino helped him. But Kane was always going to be, once he came into the Tottenham team and he got onto the scene, he had the raw ability there. I'm not taking anything away from Poch, but all I'm saying is, did he add that extra 25, 30, 40%, which Mourinho did to Drogba, which Ferguson did to Van Nistelrooy, the two examples I used earlier?
I'll give you an look. I agree with you, Jonathan. Look, I've got my doubts over Pochettino anyway, and that's a separate story. But let me give you an example, right? What I'm seeing with Poch, the way he's trying to manage Mudryk and that little bit of form that Mudryk had prior to being injured again recent times, I think Poch does have it in him to turn someone from scratch into something potentially very, very good. That much I'll give Poch. Obviously, we've not seen anything with Mudryk as yet, like as if Mudryk has become a superstar already. No, he hasn't. Of course not. But maybe I'm starting to see the early stages of that. But look, I agree with you. There is still doubts on Poch, but let's see what he does. I want to move on to the next topic. We'll start with Jonathan. Jonathan, I saw some reports saying that, obviously Reece James in recent times have been linked with Real Madrid, and now I see some little bit of reports that his long-term replacement for Kyle Walker at Manchester City. Now, Jonathan, do you feel someone like Reece James, I mean, obviously he's got a lot of injury concerns, one more injury, and I think we're all going to be a bit distraught about the whole situation. But can you picture someone like Reece James potentially finishing his career at Chelsea, or do you get the inkling this guy's got maybe just got that vibe that he could potentially leave Chelsea for someone like Real Madrid or maybe even a Man City? Like, what's your vibe about Reece James?
I mean, he could thrive under the best manager in the world right now, Pochettino, the incredible manager that just managed a 4-1 victory away to Spurs.
He's hurt.
Come on.
Debate's over.
Pochettino's gonna make him into an incredible player. Nah, jokes aside, I think his injury record doesn't speak well. I think he's more of a Chelsea man than that snake Mason Mount, which everyone seemed to think he wasn't.
not a
Which
snake.
Oh,
He's not a snake.
what about
Um,
Mason Mount this
so-
week?
He's not a
Oh my
snake. He's
days.
not a snake. I'll
Reece
defend him.
James is a Chelsea boy.
Mm.
I think he would stay at Chelsea for the rest of his career as long as the conditions stay correct. I'm certain that Pep would probably want him as a long-term replacement for Kyle Walker. I'm sure Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich would want him as well. It's just whether, I say, Chelsea are in a stage of their project where he isn't going to meet what he wants. He's won the Champions League once. I'm sure he'll want to win it again. I'm sure he'll want success with England, but that will only happen if he stays injury free. So I think a lot dictates to that. If he has another couple of injury ravaged seasons, I'm sure, these teams will suddenly stop being linked with him. And I think quite a bit of it is opinion piece. I think someone put it quite nicely earlier where these rumours and transfer gossips are in between the season just to spike a little bit of interest, just to spike some opinions because some journalists would like him at Man City. And I think if he stayed injury free, he'd be superb at Man City. He would be the exact fullback that Pep models his teams on. They've spent millions upon millions on fullbacks, and Walker's only been the only one that's stuck through the entire thing. And I think James could probably do that as well. But again, I go back to injuries. I hope he, for the sake of his career and Chelsea's next 10 years, he can stay injury free. And I think that has to be something we manage. He came off against Tottenham in the 70th minute, I think it was. And I'm not saying that should happen every game, but when he exerts himself, when he plays 2-3 games a week, hopefully next season when we're back in Europe, we have to start managing his minutes in these games. And I hope that Chelsea don't overplay him and don't stretch him. And hopefully he doesn't need to be in these silly England squads for dead rubbers, for friendlies. And as much as Poch came out and kind of dispelled that Southgate dropped him and he's got an issue with him, I thought that was quite clever from Poch, to be fair, saying that it was a joint decision to try and take the heat off him. I just hope his minutes are managed. I hope he stays at Chelsea for the rest of his career. He's a fantastic player. Not quite the leader and captain that I would choose, but I don't.
He owes a lot to Chelsea, doesn't he? He owes a lot to Chelsea. He owes a lot to Chelsea as well for Chelsea sticking by him for all of his injuries
shaking
too.
his head. Yeah, I'm unsure if Sadiq is shaking his head. I'm interested to see his rebuttal to this, but yeah, I think
talk to me, Sadiq, bro.
We've done
a
lot for him. We've done a lot for him, and he's done a lot for us, and I'm interested to see how Sadiq paints the picture.
I'm disappointed in some of these comments.
Talk to us,
John. He talks to me differently on the phone about football. Bro. This is a new sign. Maybe the Twitter interactions got to him the other day. I don't know. But basically, I can promise you now, Reece James will never join Man City. 100%, he will never ever join Man City. If he is to leave, it will be Madrid. Of course, got Rudiger, sorry. Bellingham.
Just like Mason Mount never wanted to leave. Just like Mason Mount never wanted to leave Chelsea. Remember?
Listen, I'm happy Mason Mount left, but from what I've seen, there's background to it. So I kind of understand the PR on his side. That's what I'm trying to say. I understand. Not like Minerals FC get the shovel up, but I understand where.
I feel like you can never say never, though, Sadiq. I feel like you can never say never in this day and age. Wild things have happened, bro. Wild.
Nah, Reece James is different, man. Reece James is. I just know he wouldn't join Man City. Madrid, yeah, cool. I think it could happen. He gets injured. Madrid love injured players. It happens. There's a love story there. So, but John's comments about he doesn't see him as that captain. I don't know what he's smoking. Like that's crazy.
As a captain, I want a vocal leader, and
he
is not vocal. Where's he vocal? I don't see him vocal enough, bro.
Oh
I mean, both of you lads go to matches.
You go to the games.
I'm old style.
Does Reece James actually speak up in the game? Does Reece James speak up in the game when you guys go to matches?
Nowhere near enough.
Oh my gosh.
He speaks to Pochettino quietly. He may speak to the players when they go off the pitch, when they come on the pitch, but he's not your John Terry. I'm a bit of an old school. I want my captain to be the loudest player, the hardest tackling player. And Reece James doesn't.
Understood. I understand.
Bro, someone's backing. Someone's backing Jonathan. Mikey's
Bro, that's his
captain
fake
Jonathan.
account. That's his fake account. Come on, don't think about stuff, man. Don't think about stuff.
Oh,
You're
my
mad,
days.
Sadiq. You're
Oh.
mad. But you know what? I
Sadiq,
don't mind.
is he
Reece
the
James.
captain you think we need? Do you really think that he is a leader? When Gallagher's captain, it's a joke as well because he doesn't talk on the pitch. You can lead by example, which is kind
I
of what
want
Kane
Enzo to
does
be
and
the
other
leader, bro.
strikers.
I want
I want a
Enzo to be the
talker.
yeah.
I want a
I want
talker.
Enzo.
That's
I
just
want
me.
Enzo.
Bro, I've seen J5 talk. It doesn't matter. Let me
He's more of
be
a leader
brutally
than
honest with you.
Reece James, to be fair. In
Sorry?
that sense, he's a leader. He actually talks and leads by
Who,
example.
J5?
You can't tell me that he's not got experience and he doesn't lead.
Who, J5?
The way I don't know why you're cussing Jorginho, man. Yeah.
No, I'm asking. Are you talking about
System
J5?
player. You're talking about Jorginho,
Yeah, are you talking about him?
a guy that always used to talk, try and dictate play, 100%. Not always the player we needed, but
so that's a
at
proper
least he can
captain for
talk.
you. That's a proper captain for you.
I want my captain to be talking. Look at Thiago Silva, the way he dictates around the defense. Again, isn't the loudest, but he's always talking to his defense. He's always talking to people around him. All the players say it.
So you
He's
just
telling
need a
people where to go.
conversation. You just need a conversation to be a proper captain, proper Chelsea, that you'd say.
I need
Mason Mount used to
a
talk.
striker.
Mason Mount used to talk as captain. How about that, Mason Mount?
I think Jonathan,
captain than Conor
you
Gallagher.
need both. You need both a performer plus a conversation guy as well. I think you need a combination. You can't like J5. I like J5, but J5 sometimes the performance.
Yeah,
would
not
let
the
him down.
performance. Yeah. 100%.
He's saying yeah, but he's just giving them all vocal all this time. Like I don't really
I
understand.
want a vocal captain. It doesn't have to be your best player, but he has to be a player that puts in
Listen,
your
Reece
7,
James,
your 8 out of 10.
Let me tell you something. Reece James, proper Chelsea from young, understands everything to play for the badge. Best right back, of course, in the league. I will back him any day of the week on his day. This guy can give you everything. That's all you need to know. He can improve vocally. Don't get me wrong. He can
38
improve.
games.
But let me tell you something about Reece James, right? Let me give you guys something.
Gallagher.
Look, now I think Jonathan's got a point in the sense that our captain needs to be available all the time. But what I see from Reece James in recent times, bro, he's there. He squares up to the opposition. He's always in their face. He's always protecting his teammates. He's up for a fight. He never shies away from a duel. He does lead with example with his performances as well when he's obviously on game. But yeah, in terms of vocality, he might not be there. I think in the future, my ideal captain would have been Enzo Fernandez. My ideal captain, because I feel like I know in recent times Enzo hasn't been doing well, but I've seen the fight in Enzo last season when he was the only man trying to fight all of the Man United players. I think he's quite vocal. English might be a bit of an issue for him. That's probably what's not allowing him to be a captain at the moment. But I get what Jonathan's saying to a certain degree, but I think he's probably discrediting Reece James a little bit. I think Reece James can be a fine captain. I feel that the team does look up to Reece James as well. So let's see. I think the more Reece James gets to play and stay with the team, that's going to be fantastic. I want to ask both of you guys now. We'll go to Sadiq before I go to Jonathan about this. Sadiq, Reece James versus potentially Doku coming up this weekend.
Oof. That's
Talk to me.
That's actually scary. That's actually scary.
People are saying Reece James might get himself injured again.
He might. He actually might. Doku is a very special player. Do
you think Reece James can boss him?
It's tough, man. It's tough. He's just coming back. I'm not expecting him to be 10 out of 10. But he reminded me actually, Doku. Damn, I forgot about that one.
But he didn't feature too long in the Champions League either, so I think he probably might start this one. And
then we do the starting lineup. We see Grealish. I'll be like, yes, I'll take Grealish any day of the week, people. Grealish is a very good player, by the way. No disrespect, but I think Doku would come off the bench and give him that fresh pace. If you know what I mean. But Miz, sorry, man, I have to head out, unfortunately.
All right, bro.
I just want to say very quickly, though.
Talk to me.
Silver Surfer, you know your football, man. Big up to you, man. Make sure you tune in always. Big up, man. But Miz, thanks for having me. John, apologies about if you took it personal. I hope you didn't take it personal. It's just.
He probably did, bro. You're finished now. He's not friends with you anymore.
You know we don't take anything personally. If we sit here and all agree it's going to be a very boring stream, I'm here to be honest And I know we don't always agree on football, but you're a great guy. And the word you're looking for, Doku versus James, was saucy.
Yeah, it's a saucy battle. Like your son would say, saucy. Yeah, no, 100%.
100% he would
Saucy.
say that. Yeah.
Sadiq, I'm gonna miss you,
100%.
bro. Come back if we're still about.
Listen, I'm here
We need
Sunday,
to have
man. You know
this.
me.
This podcast, we need to have this.
Nah,
bro.
nah. Listen, he wants to come to my house on Sunday. I was like, not
Nah,
happening.
Sadiq can't handle this every week if we were to do a podcast like this because he just can't stand the level of conversationalist, man. He's frightened, man. He's frightened.
Miz, he's
He
always
has to get
calling
people
me.
in the comments.
Miz, he's calling me. Why not ever on at the same time? Blah blah blah. I said,
Yeah, I
"You have
do.
your
I do
moment,
complain.
man.
I do.
No, big
You
up,
lads
man.
both
Big
gonna
up.
be. Are you gonna be watching the Man City game together? We'll do the watch along together or what?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, he's got a few family issues.
I'm waiting for the
Nah.
invite, bro. I'm waiting for the invite.
No, but obviously, your son has, you know,
Chicken pox.
chicken. He has chicken pox. I didn't know if I can say it, but yeah, he's got chicken pox.
that's
They
fine,
want
man.
that on me. They
No,
want,
it's
they
fine.
want-
Look, at the end of the day, I'm waiting for a Sadiq invite. I'm waiting for him to make me some food. To
Bro,
make
you
me,
should have seen the food Sadiq had the other day.
Let's
Oh
say,
my
Yo,
god!
don't tell him.
Oh
Don't tell him.
my god!
Don't tell him.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll be honest with you. This guy had a great week, Sadiq. It was takeaway.com around his house.
6 days in a row. It's
And,
bad. It's really bad.
This is what happens when you have a Poch fan who won 4-1. They just celebrate all week. It's great. It's great to see, man.
Yeah,
It's great to see.
yeah.
No, it's true.
You can
It's
see it
true,
in
man.
his face. He's such a Pochettino fan. Look at him.
He loves
Look
it,
at
man. He
him.
loves it. It's good.
Yeah. Big up, man.
Nice,
You lot,
Sadiq.
big up.
Take care.
Elias,
man.
big up. Silver, Miz, the whole gang. Make sure you guys like the video on Miz's channel. I'm out.
Yeah.
Man. Peace.
See
Take
ya,
care,
bro.
man.
See ya. Jonathan, so yeah, bro. I mean, some of these matchups for this upcoming match. Oof, I mean, look, a lot of them is probably a bit of a mismatch, but we're gonna have to. This is it. I mean, taking our focus away from all of that Spurs shenanigans and whatnot. Now we're focusing on Manchester City. We have to have a 10 out of 10 game, and we also have to hope that Manchester City has probably a 6 out of 10 game, or maybe even a 5 out of 10 game. Anything above 7, even if we have a 10 out of 10, they could probably beat us. Not probably, they definitely will. How are you feeling about some of these matchups, man? As I said, potentially could be Reece James, Doku, Erling Haaland against SRC, Thiago Silva, potentially. Are you skeptical about Levi Colwell on that left side? I don't think he's a left back. I mean, the matchup against their forwards and our defenders, is that kind of scaring you a little bit? Or are you thinking, nah, if we can have some sort of organization, some sort of, I suppose, what do you call it, focus, then we can potentially keep them at bay?
It's going to be interesting. I think, as with a lot of these big games now, the real thing that I look at is the midfield. And obviously, Rodri is someone that when City don't have, they really miss him. And will they play? I mean, the guy they bought from Wolves, I can't remember his name. It's not Neves. It's Nuno. What's the guy? The young guy. I can't remember his name.
Nunez.
Yeah.
Nunez.
So whether they play him next to him, I don't think they'll play Calvin Phillips. They normally sort of play him as a sitting holding.
Poch as well, I think.
Yeah. So whether they start him, he hasn't started him in all the big games. So it'll be interesting to see if they play Rodri kind of on his own with some attacking midfielders, or whether they play kind of a pivot. But I think that's the one key area that we do need to win, the midfield. And I think it's one that just few sheer of numbers of Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo, we could potentially get the better of them. Because on the wings, you look at Doku, you look at Walker, you look at probably Alvarez coming from the wing, maybe Grealish. You're looking at Foden, and we haven't even talked about Erling Haaland against our two centre backs. You've really got to hope that. Obviously, we track our men. That's going to be the most important thing, because all City ever do is create space, get runners off the ball, and it's frightening to see them in full flow. We can't allow them to get into full flow, and I think, as I say, the midfield will be important. Gallagher, Enzo, Caicedo winning the ball back, getting it to our players that can create the damage, which is probably going to be Palmer, probably going to be Sterling. Not sure if Madrid will play, because I'd probably play Jackson up top. So, yeah, we need to almost move the ball quickly. We don't want to be messing around with it. I know we've had a lot of possession in recent games, but I think we need to be straight to the point here. We need to get the ball up front and try and keep it away from our final third, because we have been prone to errors. I've talked about it a few times where we've lapsed in concentration, and it's frustrated me because we haven't tracked runs. We've made silly errors.
Yeah.
We want Sanchez obviously to be tickety bill on the ball, but yeah,
But we
they
do
will
this
punish
against Man
us.
City. We do this against Man City. I think that's curtains.
Oh, it's game over. They will punish us. I mean, Haaland does miss his fair share of chances, but he's not going to be taking, a second bite. He's going to want it first time. This guy's got a point to prove continually to himself and to the world, and he would love nothing more than to come to Stamford Bridge and bag a couple of goals. And we're not even talking about Julian Alvarez, who, as
Oof.
we know, is a
He's
great
probably the
finisher as
one that
well.
we
So
need to worry about. I think he's the one
it's
that
the
has the
secondary
game to hurt
runs.
us.
Yeah,
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 it's the secondary
100%.
runs. And Sanchez, our goalkeeper, bro, with the ball, I think Manchester City are going to put him under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Haaland's going to be absolutely all over him. And as I say, I think Haaland will try and occupy the centre backs as he does so well. He normally occupies the two, whether it's Colwill, Disasi, Silva, two of the three. We're going to have to keep really, really big tabs on him. But then every team does because Haaland is so dangerous. But I think we need to make special dispensation just because, as I say, we've lapsed concentration so many times this season and cost ourselves goals. I think James will start again. The main real issues, I think, in defence, obviously, the centre backs, whether it's Colwell or Disasi, but it's whether Colwell starts at left back. As you said, is he a natural left back? You've probably got Carl Walker almost playing as a right winger. Is he going to get forward enough? Is Cucurella maybe worth taking a risk on because he loves to get in the opponent's face? I always think that he's a little bit handicapped once he's got a yellow card because he can't have that aggressive game. But it'll be interesting to see what Pochettino does. It'll be a core 8 or 9 players that we know. I think the main key selection issues he's got is that Cucurella / Colwill, whether he goes with Mudryk, and obviously I think Jackson, but that's potentially something he could change because, as you say, he might go over false nine and pack up the midfield. So there is certain key issues all over the pitch, but again, I'll go back to my first point. I think the midfield is somewhere we need to try and overload, to try and overpower, and just try and get in their faces. Because if you let them have the ball and if you let them dictate the early game, they could take the game away from us in the first 15, 20 minutes, which we do not want. We need to just try and stay in the game. And I'm not saying we need to go in as underdogs and go in as a team that needs to sit behind the ball, but I just want to stay in the game because if City are on song, they could put us out of sight in the first half.
100%, man. Let's talk about another different topic now. A lot of talk this week has been about potentially Nkunku coming back after the international break. I'm very excited, man. And I've been saying all throughout this week that Chelsea should do their level best to keep the damage as minimal as possible in terms of losing points. Obviously, we're all going to be so ecstatic, so happy if Chelsea get the victory against Manchester City. But even if we can somehow manage a draw, I think that would be a positive result, 100%. Not losing, that is the first target. And then, obviously, we have the international break, a couple of weeks, and then potentially Nkunku coming back after the international break. And I think he's a game changer for us. And then from there on, we'll see. I know initially it's not going to be like that. He's just not going to come in and play for us immediately. He'll be taking time and coming off the bench. And I think even off the bench, I think it's going to be phenomenal to see this player come back, who can potentially open up low blocks, who can be that creative spark that we need. He can take set pieces, free kicks, corners, the lot. Jonathan, do you believe that Nkunku could potentially turn our season around in a massive way?
I hope so. I hope that we don't put too much responsibility on him, too much pressure, too much expectation. But I do think, as you say, he could be a player that really unlocks this side. It was interesting how we worked the team around him in pre-season, and it almost looked like his injury led to Pochettino's change of plans at the start of the season. So, yeah, I think him coming into the side will not only give us depth, it will give us quality. It will give us a proven goal scorer. And I know we talk about him being in the German league. I know he's been briefly at PSG, but I do believe he is someone that can translate those goals into Premier League goals. Yeah, his versatility, the fact that he can play in a variety of positions, will certainly help us. And I think that, yeah, he will certainly add goals where we need goals. He'll finish chances where we've lacked the finishing and the cutting edge. So yeah, it's a massive, massive boost, and I think we've done the right thing in giving him a couple of weeks for the internationals, not taking him, too quickly to come back. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
another guy that, as this comment says now, build up his match fitness, see how he can play, and it's just great to have him back because it's a new signing. It's like when Lavia comes back, it'll be a new signing because we've signed these
Yeah.
players and haven't even seen them. So, as we start to get these players back, Badia Shield was mentioned earlier in the comments as well when I was talking about the centre backs. We're now starting to see a squad that can be moulded and can potentially challenge at the upper echelons of the league because just from availability, we've suddenly got players where you go, okay, well, we take off Palmer against Arsenal and we bring on subs and we don't look the same team. But if you take off Palmer and go, oh, we've got Nkunku on the bench, or we've got, to close off the game, we're going to bring on Lavia, or, Dizazi's going off with a knock, we're going to bring on Badia Shield. Suddenly, those substitutions turn into a real positive for the team. So, yeah, Nkunku, as I say, will be a massive plus. I hope we, can ease him back in. And if he can just get an early goal, that will do wonders for the team and for the confidence.
Can you imagine he comes off the bench and he scores a goal for us? Oh my days. and ends up being a winner as well, let's say, for instance. I think the fan base will lose their mind.
Yeah, you can see he wants that balloon celebration. All I ever see is that picture on Twitter banded around. But as I say, I don't want to put too much expectation because I think it will take him a few games to click. Obviously, he hasn't played for 4 or 5 months, even pre-season. Obviously, that's a completely different level to Premier League. So, yeah, this again another good comment from Mish. I'm hoping our season can start kicking off. We've got a really tough run of fixtures, but we're hopefully getting some confidence back, and hopefully we have turned the corner after that Spurs victory. I really am hoping so. I want to back Poch. I know I'm harsh on him. I want to back him. I want him to be given the time because there's no point of spending the money and bringing a manager like him.
You got high standards. You got high standards. It's not bad being harsh. I think you just got high standards, bro.
Yeah, and as I say, I think slight in the back of my head is the Spurs bias, and I think that will always be there. As much as I really want to back him, I will always be critique, and I will for any manager and any player, because as I say, I think you have to keep it real and you have to be honest. But yeah, he has to be given the time, and if he now has the players at his disposal that we bought him, like the Nkunku, like the Lavia, then yeah, if he has 6 months, 12 months of availability, and you go, well, what have we done? You hope that these players would have been able to put the performances in and get the goals needed to put us in the table. Because, with all these players back, if we can start getting some goals and getting some performances, you never really know where we could end up.
100%, man. 100%. I mean, yeah, that's why I said, try and limit the damage as much as possible. And then when these players come back, especially Nkunku, I think sky's the limit, man. Let's see. And we need to come back into European football to a certain degree, and then rectify this season, the start of this season. I want to talk to you about another player, Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer, there's a lot that's been, a lot of comments, a lot of quotes coming out for Cole Palmer, lots of praise about him. Pochettino has been praising him as well. Cole Palmer himself is saying that he absolutely is relishing his time at the moment at Chelsea Football Club. You can clearly see this boy is really enjoying being at Chelsea. I think he's enjoying being given that responsibility to drive Chelsea from a creative standpoint and also from a scoring standpoint as well. He's now been given the penalty responsibility as well, where he's been converting. I don't think I've seen him miss any yet. I think I've seen him 3 penalties and 3 goals so far.
3, yeah.
And you can see the footballing IQ as well when he starts for us. He's someone who he looks different from everyone else, all our other players. You can tell this guy he comes from a different school of thought, and it's clear to see that he comes from that institution under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Jonathan, do you think this guy, he left City because obviously he was looking for game time, Whether City regrets it or not, that's a different story. I don't think City are in a position they regret anything in life anymore. They've achieved so much. But Jonathan, do you think this guy Cole Palmer seriously could be a big-time baller at Chelsea Football Club?
I really hope so. He's got the potential to, for sure. And all I'm going to say is I'm going to predict a narrative that Chelsea fans and probably the media are going to start spinning. It's going to be, when Nkunku comes back, can Palmer and Nkunku,
it already
survive
started
in the same team?
It already started, Jonathan.
Oh, has it?
People already
okay.
started saying, "Can they play together?" Yeah, I've seen it all over Twitter.
God.
Can they play together? And I'm like, why can't they play together? That's strange.
So when people said, how Haaland and Alvarez going to play together? What happened there? How did De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish all play in the same team for Man City? You want your best players on the pitch in order to win football games. And Palmer right now, as again another spot on comment, one of the signings of the summer for us, and it's only been 3 months. He's a player that has had the shackles taken off him. It looks under Pochettino, where he's been given the license to roam around the pitch, do what he feels he needs to do to affect the game. Sublime touches, coming in between the lines, getting on the ball, taking responsibility, as you said, with the penalties. It's been an all-round maturity already from him since he's come into the team. And it's really good to see because, so often we have Chelsea players that come in, they've got the weight of expectation on their heads. You look at the Werner, the Havertz, just to name two in recent years. They come in and they already look burdened by the price tag. They look, under pressure. He's come in like an absolute breath of fresh air. And I know partly of that is because he's come from a Premier League side. He's come from Pep, as you touched upon as well. But it's the fact that no fear factor doesn't inhibit his ability in the moment to do the right thing. We've got a lot of inexperienced players that don't do the right thing. You look at Jackson, you look at Mudryk, even Sterling, an experienced player. They don't choose the right options so many times, but 8-9 times out of 10, Cole Palmer looks like he makes the right decision, and it's great to see. And it's as I said earlier, it's a breath of fresh air because you want players that want to impose themselves upon a game. And I turned up to that Arsenal game. I was watching the Tottenham game, and I'm like, this guy means business. This guy wants to get involved and make his stamp on the game and take the game by the scruff of its neck. And I've watched so many other players for Chelsea do this over the years. As a midfielder, the last one I can think of that really dictated the game was Cesc Fabregas, and you watched him on the ball, different player, but dictated the game, and you'd come back and think, "Oh, that guy knows how to play football." And you walk
Don't
away
you just
from watching
love
Cole
the fact,
Palmer.
Jonathan? Don't you just love the fact that he's always got his head up? Like too many Chelsea players I see head down and just running around. He's always got his head up. He's so comfortable with the ball. He don't need to look down to see if the ball's in his feet. He knows the ball's in his feet. He's looking up to see where he can pass.
It's that technical ability that we didn't see for so many years under different England managers. There was just to touch on another completely separate topic, but Chelsea were probably one of the leading academies for so long. And just looking at grassroots football, we used to play, even when I was a kid, 11-a-side a lot. We never used to play small-sided games. And you look at the Spanish teams, the Italian teams that would play smaller-sided games that had the technical ability on the ball to just go past players like they weren't there. And England was always a focus on 11-a-side games. But now we've, in the last 10 to 15 years, changed that. We get a lot more players on the ball. You get a lot more cage football. You've got a lot of kids playing on the street now, where the emphasis on small-sided games forces players to be more skillful, to be more tactically aware, to be more technically aware. So Cole Palmer is kind of that age now, where he's so used to playing in tight spaces. He's so used to having to know where the ball is at any one moment because someone's going to nick it off of him. And obviously from being at the Man City Academy where he's got so many other good players around him, that has only helped him and so many other, young English players in the generation because they now look like the Spain of 10, 15 years ago that won the Euros and the World Cup where they just look in control. So, to make a long point valid, I think Cole Palmer, the trajectory he's on, he could be for the next 5 to 10 years, or as long as he stays at Chelsea, a very
Yeah.
important player that you want to be in your starting 11, just because of his ability and just from seeing the profile of that he has. There's so much good that he brings to this side, and it's his positivity that rubs, on other players, and his willingness to just keep going every single time. That is really good to watch.
Man, I just get the feeling this upcoming fixture against Manchester City is going to mean so much to Cole Palmer. He's going to be, he definitely wouldn't want to lose this particular match against Manchester City. Not that he has a lot to prove or anything like that. And it's not that Manchester City didn't believe in him. They just couldn't give him enough game time at the moment. Obviously, this season, earlier on in this season, Cole Palmer actually started off with a bang with Manchester City and scoring goals. I believe in the Community Shield, and then he also scored in the Super Cup. He was absolutely on fire. But I'm sure Cole Palmer will have one eye off, trying to get all 3 points against Manchester City and absolutely leave an imprint in that particular match as well, to somewhat kind of make Manchester City feel that, hey, this is who you let go of. Do you feel this upcoming match there might just be a little bit of extra spice from Cole Palmer up against Manchester City? Or do you think he'll just go around his business like he always does? Kind of looks a little bit nonchalant, carefree. It just goes about his business. Or do you think now we may see a different Cole Palmer in this upcoming match?
Those are the two exact descriptive words I was going to use. So nail on the head for you there, nonchalant and carefree. Yeah, I think it's, you're always going to think you've got a point to prove coming up against a former club that sold him, but I don't think there was any bad blood or animosity there. I think it was, as you say, just we can't give you the game time. Pep is always happy to sell players that, even if they're in good stages of their career. I mean, Mahrez wasn't exactly in a bad position before he was sold as well. So
Yeah.
Pep will always replace them. He's brought Doku in, and now suddenly Mahrez isn't even talked about. So yeah, it's definitely something that's going to be in the back of his head. But I think he will just turn up, and he wants to perform anyway. And I think he wants to, play in the big games. He came to Chelsea to try and kick on in his career. Obviously, compete for bigger trophies, which hopefully will happen down the line. But yeah, he'll want to affect the big games, and that's why you move to a club like Chelsea. You grow up, wanting to play football because you want to score against the big teams and put performance in that really affect the big games. So yeah, I think there's an extra spice. I think there's an extra spice because it's come off the back of a Big Six win for once for us. Can we build on it? We haven't actually lost to a Big Six team this season, which last season, again, we struggled with. We had a few draws, but a lot of defeats. Can we keep this little unbeaten record going? I think there's something that has to be in the back of the players' minds. I know we've got a very changed squad, but I think we'll go in fairly confident just because, we have played well against the big sides. So hopefully it is an open game. I want it to be a good game. I don't want to watch a bore, and I don't want to watch us be dominated. And so, yeah, I hope, all I ask for and all I hope is that the big players step up, that we put in a performance. Because, if we put in a 7 or 8 out of 10, maybe we can get something. We can only hope that, we can stifle Man City and stop them from being the team that we know they can be, the treble winners, probably one of the best sides ever. So we are coming up against a side that's well prepared in pretty much every situation under Pep. So yeah, we just have to be the best that we can be and hope that that's good enough. And I'm not going to be annoyed if we lose. I'm not going to be over the moon if we win, just like I wasn't over the moon when we beat Tottenham 4-1.
As long as we don't get embarrassed. Just don't get embarrassed.
Exactly. And as long as we put the effort in, I don't want to see us not put the effort in and not care, which is, I'm not saying we had that against Brentford, but we gave up, and I don't feel like we gave it our all, even though we had the chances in the first half and even in the early second half stages. So I just want to see us give our all, and make chances and try and finish them as well. That's probably the most frustrating thing, you know, as a Chelsea fan this season. We make quite a few good chances and we don't put the ball in the back of the net. And sometime soon, hopefully that changes. We can't just surely keep missing them forever. I know we've had a last couple of seasons with the same problems, but we've now got hopefully players that can finish. We've got creators. We just need to match up that piece of the jigsaw, which I'm sure Poch is working on. All I see is training videos of, you know, all our players scoring goals, and I think, should I comment saying where's this in the game? And I have to hold myself back from being sarcastic, but that's got to translate.
Comment. Make sure you comment, bro. Make sure you comment.
Surely that's got to translate into goals soon. So yeah, hopefully, I say it's just an interesting game and one that we can go out and enjoy, because the pressure really isn't on us. Man City are now top of the league. They'll probably go into it second or third, depending on whether Spurs and Arsenal win. So they'll want to go back to the top of the table. But we also want to improve on our position in 10th. You know, stay in the top half.
100% agreed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've now gone an hour and 15 minutes. We covered a whole heap of ground about so many things. I'll try and do my level best to put some timestamps about some of the topics that we talked. I think it'll be good for people watching down the track and keeping a track of what we have talked about. As always, Jonathan, my man, lovely conversation. As I said, we're going to try and continue to do this on a regular basis, especially during the weekend. And hope to speak to you after Manchester City. Definitely, if you're keen to come on, because that will finish roughly around 5:30 a.m. for me. So I've got a bit of time until I go to office. So definitely after the Manchester City game, I will definitely have enough time for you, Jonathan. And let me know what you're doing. And to the live chat, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button. We're going to try and do this hopefully tomorrow as well. But tomorrow I've got something lined up with PYS. If Jonathan's free, we can definitely bring in Jonathan as well. Roughly around 9 p.m. UK, we'll do the preview for the Manchester City game. And who knows, maybe there might be another late night stream as well after I'm done with my son's football training. That might be a bit late though, around maybe midnight UK. But if anyone's keen for that, maybe we could tee up something like that down the track. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Until next time, everyone, take care and catch you all later. Bye.
Peace out.